Today in livestock, the cattle was a little bit lower. The bears seem to be in charge, and they're pressing even more. The cash trade is oversold, but perhaps for a reason. You know, I think we expected a bounce back, but it didn't happen. Every week the trade is slow to materialize, and normally we get something to set the market direction, but we haven't seen that, and it's so difficult to say if more than technically speaking, if the trade deal is starting to have a bigger effect on all the meats across the board, so the livestock market completely. Now the feeders really fell again. That seasonal demand is just nowhere to be seen right now. The cold weather has definitely affected the grilling season, and we know that we're watching for the market has been really oversold, and it continues to overshoot its objective, and we know that this happened on the upside, and it's also happening on the downside. Does it have a reason, or could it possibly spring back? It absolutely could. Right now the weather in the Midwest still seems to be cold for the rest of the week, although there are some areas that have kind of warmed up, but the wet weather has kind of changed and made it really difficult for logistics to kind of even move around any of the beef that we have. That being said, the domestic demand has been kind of weak, and it's kind of making people a little bit nervous. And I think that's why the market's kind of sold off somewhat. It did have some room to fall, let's say that, but there is some worry that maybe the bottom is a little bit soft, so we're going to watch that closely. Now, hogs were also a little bit easier. There, again, the pork domestic demand is a little bit weak. The grilling season is just woefully slow to materialize, and that's really across all of the livestock right now. That we expect even China, Canada, Mexico, U.S., they're going to be passing pork back and forth because we're like the biggest consumers of it, and there will really be able to participate a lot better if that trade deal comes to pass. But until then, we're going to see a little bit of the hot potato of this moving around, and I think that that's why we're seeing now that the top may be in for the short term for this pork. But with that said, that African swine fever in China is still a big issue, and at some point in time I think that you're going to see big purchases coming out of China, but when that comes it's still hard to tell, and but at that point we're going to see a lot more volatility in the market, and as we said already for weeks and weeks now, that volatility is going to be here to stay, and I expect that it's going to last all through the summer.